Everybody, what's up? It's Phil John. Welcome to another episode of Phil John's V.I.P. Thank you so much for joining me this Saturday night. I hope everybody's doing well. It's March and it's really nice out today. I got a chance to get out and enjoy this beautiful weather. I am kind of sitting back, kind of chilling. I'm in chill mode tonight. I want to be able to wait until my guests arrive and just say, hey, to all you beautiful people for tuning in and chiming in and coming again every Saturday. And those of you who watch a lot on the replay, thank you so much. But tonight I have a old friend and colleague. I'm gonna say Miss Grace Byers. A lot of you remember her from Empire or know her from Empire, and now that she's on a new hit TV show called Harlem, she has a book that she wrote, a children's book called I Am Enough. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We got so much to catch up on. Like, honestly, like, this is really kind of like a cold interview because Grace and I have not seen each other since she abandoned us and left New York for Chicago. What's up, Coco? Um, and life just took a turn for her in a good way, and her career kind of skyrocketed into orbit. So I'm looking forward to actually being able to sit and talk to her and catch up, kind of like a cold read almost, but not quite. Um, yeah, a lot of people don't really know in this industry that we all have been in the trenches with each other long before the general public is introduced to them. So by the time you guys see actors on television or if they're in a hit series that you're watching, we have all been in the trenches together. We have tilled the soil. We have uh, cried together, laughed together. I remember one time there was way before COVID, there was Actors Equity Association, and a lot of us would try to go get on, see if we can get kind of finagle our ways into an audition for Broadway shows. And there was a non-equity bench for those of us who were in equity at that time. There was a non-equity bench, and it was made of wood. And the way it would work is you would have all your equity actors audition first. Then you would have your EMCs, which was your membership candidate people. They would have second dibs, and the non-union people would have to wait and go last, right? So usually when there were plays that were casting actors of color, we'd be like, look, we got this, because, you know, if and nobody else shows up, we're going to have an opportunity to audition. And we would rotate on that bench. One person would sit on the bench, next person would sit on the floor. Next group would sit on the bench, the next group of people would sit on the floor. And we did it until we got an opportunity to go in and audition. And I think back then, I think I only got a chance to audition like once before actually, yeah, I think it was only one time. But the secret really is a lot of times when you audition for Broadway and stuff like that, things have already been cast, and you just kind of following union protocols by having an audition. But most of the time, for like a lot of the lead roles, offers have already gone out. Hell, even understudy offers have gone out. So, but I don't take back the experience. And my guest has arrived. This is going to be an exciting joint. So I'm looking forward to it. Grace, just, hit the button, requests come in, and we can get it started. But I kind of gave your intro already, so, and I really don't believe she needs an introduction. But for those who don't know, let me introduce to you and reintroduce to some Miss Grace Byers. Here we go. I'm kind of quiet. I'm chill tonight. Whoa. Grace, where you at? Grace!
Ah!
Grace! Yo!
Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Okay, good.
I can hear you well. How are you, my sister?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you? It's so great
I
to see you.
I am good. I'm good. I was sitting here kind of just I was going back and I was just like, wow. I think the last time I saw Grace, you had abandoned New York for Chicago.
I did.
It was, and I remember correctly. It was in, I think it was one of the theaters in the Barrel, in like the Barrel Group on 36th Street. I think Brooklyn was having the MFA showcase, and that was the last time I saw you. Brooklyn
Wow.
College showcase.
Yes, that was a while ago. That was a decade.
Yeah, a decade, right?
Ooh,
Because I mean, and let me just say this to you. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of everything that you've accomplished. I'm so proud that I knew you at the beginning of the journey, at least close to it, and to see where life has taken you and see where God has blessed you. I really just stand in awe, and I'm one of those people who are always cheering you on, and I wanted to celebrate you today. So thank you.
thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, Phil. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Thank you. So yeah, you know what? Like for those who don't know, I met Grace. I worked for Paul Michaels, the network in New York, and there were times when we all had to divvy up um, showcases where we had to attend and mingle with casting directors and the industry people. And I saw Grace for the first time in her MFA showcase at the University of California, Irvine. And
Yeah.
I will say this, I kind of knew then that there was something very, very special about you, and that it was just a matter of time for you to kind of like take flight. You just have it in you, and it's an energy, and it's not anything that can be taught. It's just innate,
Oh, wow. Thank
you
you. I
know.
appreciate that. That's
So
great.
to say, and I think I've said this before, to say that I'm surprised at where your career has gone, I'm not surprised. I knew that was happening, and I just and to just see how you are able to bless other people is amazing. So what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, Harlem. That's the thing that's been taking my schedule the most, which is really exciting. So Harlem just dropped in December. The cast is great. The script is awesome. Tracy Oliver outdid herself. This is so much fun. That's on Amazon right now, and then we're gearing to go back for season two in just like a month or two.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
exciting. I caught some of the clips from Harlem. It's a good look. I love it. Totally different from
Different.
the Anika role, which when I first saw it, I felt like you really played the stereotype, like to like the 10th power. I was like, this girl is on
You talking about
for,
Anika?
for Anika, for Empire, because what happened was when you left for Chicago, that's all I knew, and
Mhm.
I'm literally I'm at home. I remember eating, and the premiere of Empire came up, and I did like what?
Yeah, it really did. I think I moved to Chicago in November. And there was an agent that had seen me do some Chicago stuff that said, if you ever move to Chicago, let me know. Her name is Marisa Panessa, and she was amazing. And she was the first agent that I had that actually listened to what I wanted to do. Because here's the thing, it's like, a lot of people are going to want to pigeonhole you into what they think they know you can do. So I came from a theater background, I came from theater training. And so I loved the theater, but I really wanted to break into TV and film.
Yeah,
And the agents that I had previously, they were just not, they were like, yeah, just we're trying to get you in for theater. So when I signed with her, I was like, I'd love to get in for TV and film. She's like, great, like, let's do it. And what was crazy is that the beginning of the year, I started getting check avails. I didn't even know what they were. I was like,
mm-hmm.
what's a check avail, So started getting check avails and then started booking a couple of commercials. And then Empire was the pilot that I booked for that pilot season. And it was, what a pilot, right? Like crazy.
Yeah,
changed my life.
How did that feel for you coming in? Because for those who don't know about the industry, like everyone has their own method of what's going to come first and how they're going to get into SAG, and then how many you go from co-star roles to guest star roles to principal player. How did it feel to kind of like bypass all of that and just get ushered into like a principal role so breakout like that?
My gosh. Well, first, I see someone asking what a check avail is, so I'm just gonna address that real quick. But a check avail is when they check your availability. They have a couple of people that they're interested in for that part, and so what they do is they kind of put you on a hold, and so that's your way of knowing that you're one of the ones that they're looking at. And so it could be as many as like 5 people that they have on check avail, or it could be 2 people, you and someone else, and
Yeah.
so you either get the call like, yes, you got it, or we're going to release you from check avail. So that's what that is. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think I knew, since this was sort of my introduction to the television film world, I don't think I knew what it meant to truly book a pilot and then this kind of pilot. Like I knew what it meant to be a part of a Black cast point. I knew that, so I could feel like that was really significant and substantial, and that this was already starting to be something different. But I knew who I was working with, so I knew that was also really spectacular. But I did not know when Empire started to pop off and people really loved it, and week by week we got more viewers. People were like, "Oh my gosh, we're getting more viewers." I was like, "Okay," because like for me it was cool to just get a pilot. It was like,
Yeah.
whether or not it got picked up, it was cool to get picked up, And so I don't think I really understood. Looking back, I was like, dang, but I didn't really understand the impact of that. And I think that that's pretty fortunate, because it keeps you super, super humble, So you're just grateful. You're just grateful for anything that happens that's positive news. You just get super excited about it.
Was there ever a point where you had imposter syndrome?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because when I booked Empire, I was not SAG. I did not have a demo reel. I didn't do anything to have a demo reel.
Right.
So there was nothing. I didn't have a resume in TV and film. So I was just like,
And can I just say that's what made me so impressed, because I knew that you were a theater baby.
right.
And when you booked when I saw you on Empire, I said, you know what? I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her. That's gangster. That's gangster.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was crazy. Like I was, I was super just coming, I'm originally from the Cayman Islands, it's a very small country, so just even being seen by people was enough for me, right? So, to have like those super big dreams, they're equivalent to like landing on the moon, And
Yeah.
at that point, it was just like, I was just happy to be seen. So the fact that they're considering me for this part, knowing that there's tons of other people that could probably play it and be more, qualified for it, all that. So I was just grateful for it. And I said, you know what, though? I knew that moment that at the end of that week, I was like, you know what, God, if I book this, I know it's you, because there's no way that I should technically formulaically be able to book this with no deal. They don't know who I am. This is a series regular part. This is a hefty part, playing opposite of Terrence and Taraji. Like, there's no way that, like, if I get this, I know it's not going to be because of anything like that they, like no resume, no nothing, so.
Shout out to Maurice Lochner. Thank you for joining, brother. Maurice has been in the business forever.
Hi, Maurice.
But like you were saying, most actors have this kind of like one foot in front of the other kind of way to the principal role. So of course, but I'm telling you, like, God is so awesome, man. Like, you just, the kingdom living and the way the kingdom works is completely different than the natural, system of how things work, So you are Empire, right?
Yes.
And you working and you doing your thing.
Right.
And then you see your fellow co-star, you're like, yo, How can I get with that?
You know, if I could be honest with you, you know, we were really just all there to work, right? And
Right.
so, you know, Trey laughs at me all the time because I'm like, it really wasn't, we had seen each other, we were friends, but my focus really wasn't on him. It wasn't on anyone in particular in the cast. It was just on the work.
Right.
It's such a big opportunity. And
Right.
I was actually dating somebody else at the time when I was doing Empire, and I was just really focused on that relationship. And I just knew I was going to marry this guy and everything. And it was so crazy because that fall when we were shooting that first season, I just really felt God be like, I need you out of this relationship. I need you for me to me for a hot minute, right? Like I need you to
Yeah.
just exit and then just focus on me. And so I did. And it wasn't until like a couple of months after that till Trey and I started dating, which was really interesting because we both never date in the workplace. Right. And so we both have done theater for years. So we know all about that. You know what I mean? So it's really easy to, you know, fall for people that you work with, that
Yeah.
stuff. Just never, it's always focused. And so the fact that, you know, we started dating each other was just so surreal, you know, and we knew like as soon as we started dating each other, we were like, you the one. That's it. It's, it's here, you know? So yeah.
That's that was dope. So how was it working together afterwards? Like once you guys started dating, how was that to continue that coworker relationship?
For Trey and I is different. I think a lot of it has to do with the training. A lot of it has to do with the theater training. And so, you know, for us, it was a real joy. It was a real pleasure to work with one another because there's something about, especially when you have a really safe relationship, you know,
Hmm.
already created that environment of safety where you can play with each other in all realms. And for our, you know, on-screen relationship, you know, our characters were enemies and
Right.
you know, just, you know, we were always at each other's throats. And so, you know, just having that safety net of knowing that he's got me no matter what, knowing that I've got him, it really allows you to just explore the score of emotions and moments and honesty in those moments. And like, what's so interesting is we never went over lines together. You know, we always kept it separate and we'd be like, all right, so you ready to do that scene? All right, let's go. And we each other on set and people would watch us because we'd literally be at the end of like room, like in the corners of a ring.
Right.
You
Right. Right.
know, talk, we wouldn't discuss it. Anything we had to say, it was talked about in the room. And
Right.
get in and then we go for it and it would be so much, I mean, so much fun. He's a joy to work with. He really is. Will help you elevate your performance. It's working with him.
The consummate professionals. It's all about the work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. How did it feel for you to go from struggling actor to now everybody knowing, like to you, for you being a familiar face that everybody knows, you know, how was that transition for you?
Yeah, that was definitely an adjustment. You know, I've always been, you know, I mean, like coming from the Cayman Islands, a very small country, you're used to very small bouts of attention, right? And so, like, coming to America, you know, learning the culture and all that kind of stuff was a transition in itself. And, you know, I found myself to be a very gregarious person, someone who, you know, loved to be in social circles, and found that really exciting. But there was something about being known on a small scale and then being known on like a global scale that
Hmm.
literally overnight felt very scary. And I'll be honest with you, right? So for me it did. And so initially it was like, hey, you're that girl on Empire. And then it was like, oh my God, yeah, I am. And then like, can I take a picture? And then you'd be like, yeah, sure, you know? And then because Empire was such a hit and I didn't understand, like I said earlier, I didn't understand what that really meant. Then
Right. Right.
multiple people, multiple times a day. And then people started treating me and talking to me as if I were my character. So that became overwhelming. So they'd be like, hey, Boo Boo Kitty, you know, you think you, and I'm like, wait a minute, wait, what world are we in? Like, I'm just, like, this is
Right.
Target,
Right.
you
Right.
know? mean?
Right.
And so there was all of this stuff that was happening, and I'm like so overwhelmed because everywhere I'm going and everything I'm doing, I'm being watched. And then it got kind of scary because then I'd be in places and people be holding up their phone and like taping me, and I'm like digging out my ear, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm on camera. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so you realize that there's a level of self-consciousness that you do start to have, and
Right.
then so then after being such a gregarious social person, I actually dealt with social anxiety. And so I would just, try to like wear a hat and shades and like just kind of just try to disappear in crowds because I felt like when people saw me, they didn't see me. They saw a person that I was not. And so I got a whole bunch of attention on social media, in person. Like
Right.
I'll never forget, there's this one girl I met in Zara, and she was like, "Hey, Boo Boo Kitty." And I was like, "Hey, actually, my name is Grace." And she was like, "I know your name."
I can't,
And
yo.
I was
I
like,
can't. I can't.
"Oh my God." So like, you know my name, but you are on purpose playing a skit with me right now. Like, this is the kind of stuff that, that it was like. And so it got really overwhelming, and it was so difficult for me to enjoy all aspects of it because I was playing a character that so many people really disliked.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so hard to like introduce the real me in those circumstances, or have people, or to be like, guys, like that's not me. Like it's,
Right.
and
Right.
it got really hard. And so I was like, oh my God, everyone hates me. Like everyone hates me. Like on social media, everybody hates me. Like in real life, everybody hates me. And so to feel that like overwhelming thought or idea that
Mhm.
everybody hated you was really hard. So that took some time.
You know
Yeah.
what? It's interesting because having people that I have, like I said, we've kind of been in the trenches together in the early stages, and I see people flourish out. I have this conversation a lot with Rain Pryor, my boy Stephen Hill, who's now on Magnum PI, and it's like I almost become, and this is just my nature, Grace. I become like the biggest protector.
Mm.
So really, like if we're together, can't nobody step to you crazy without me stepping in. It's not gonna happen. And if
Right.
anybody says anything bad about you online, I'm gonna be the first one to inbox you, like, yo,
Right.
you good?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as you good, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm out. You don't have to worry. And I have to be careful of that about myself, because
Right.
if God allows my career to become as successful as all of you, I'm gonna be in trouble.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
I
So
understand.
I'm trying to work on myself now. Pray a lot, meditate,
Right.
because I know it takes a lot.
It does.
So let's talk about Harlem, because
Yes.
that's where we are now.
Yeah.
And the clip that I saw of you was really really good. Having the conversation about like an okra.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so how was that experience for you?
That was wonderful. And this is actually just a really great transition because after that time in Empire, like after the 4 years, when I came off the show, I was like, okay, so many people think that this is who I am,
Mhm.
that I'm really passionate about showing just the side of artistry and creativity that I can actually, craft in a different way. And so it was important for me to do something different, right? I never thought that I could get into comedy because I didn't think that anyone would cast me in comedy. I thought that people would see me in drama and just want to see me in drama, right? And so it was crazy. So I wasn't getting a lot of comedic scripts. I wasn't, and so, a couple of years later when Harlem came about, I read the script and I just laughed and I fell in love. And I was so pleasantly delighted to know that Tracy Oliver wanted to chat with me and have a meeting with me and audition me. And so talking with her and auditioning for Harlem, it was really wonderful to hear her say, I am so fascinated in cross-pollinating people. And I was like, you don't hear that in the industry. Like
Oh,
people in the industry, people like it when you do something and do something well, and then that's all they want to like,
yeah,
commoditized, right? So they're like, in everything you play the same because that's what we know you're good at.
Right.
They're really into taking risks a lot. And so risk taker. And so she was like, I want to cross pollinate you. She was like, just talking to you, I get a sense of your sense of humor and your personality. And so when I screen tested and we win, it was so wonderful to be able to try to find Quinn and craft a character that I've never played before that again isn't me, but I can use aspects of my sense of humor and aspects of my own personality to infuse in this character and then show people a different part. And so now we get to this part, right, with, you know, the particular with Okra. And the reason why I love that scene is because it was directed by Nima Barnett, who is an OG. And she really ran that whole scene like a theater rehearsal. And so
territory. Yeah.
We rehearsed the scene, and that was probably one of the most difficult scenes because the notes were like Nemo pulled me aside and she was just like, I know you can do this. So I want you to be confused and scared and thrilled and delighted. You also don't want to tell her, but you also want to tell her. But also this is like the first time you feel this way and you feel really embarrassed. Go. And I was like, and so doing the scene, it felt wonderful and so free because I felt like I was on stage.
Right. Awesome. Have you ever felt like, I know, you know, that your faith is very important to you, right?
Yeah.
I know that I do know that. And yeah, because that's right. You know my frat brother Charles. I almost forgot that.
Yeah. What up, Jack?
Yeah, Charles. I just hit him up on Facebook because he had a beautiful picture with him and his wife. And what was I about to say? Oh my God. That's how my mind goes. Senior moment. Forgive me.
You were saying.
I was saying.
Yes.
Have you ever felt like anything that you did in television was in conflict with your faith?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like because I know who I am and because I know, you know, the foundation upon which I stand, it is not hard for me to reflect many and various aspects of life that are true and that are real and that are accurately depicting the world that we live in. A perfect example of that is when I played in Tales. I did an episode in Tales where I played a drug addict, right? And I thought that that was so important to play because there is a part of this world where people are dealing with various types of addiction, and that is very serious and real and true. And I think that we need to honor all parts of what it means to be a human and all struggles. And you know, and I think that it doesn't do anybody a service when we try to depict life like it's a bunch of unicorns and rainbows and everything is perfect. I think that where we relate as human beings is when we share our stories and our struggles, and when we share, like, you know, I went through that too, and you know, and we see that we're actually as different as we are. We're not as different as we think. Mm-hmm. So it's important to me that the overall message is reflective of one that talks about love, that talks about unity, that talks about like a general uplifting. And so if it's like, oh, we just gonna be dark for the sake of being dark, that's not my style. That may be somebody else's style. That's fine. That's not mine. But if the overall arching message is love and wholeness and healing, you know, anything having to do with those things, or, you know, positivity, building instead of breaking down, all of that are things that I find myself attracted to as an artist to be able to portray.
Which is oftentimes, you know, kind of like the conflict that most, I know, people who are Christians have, is whether or not they're projecting the right kind of image or message, you know.
Sure.
So, you know, for me, I always said that I don't want to do anything that I can't explain.
That's good. I like that.
Right? So if you see me do something, there's a reason why I did it, and I can explain it. If I can't explain it, if I'm doing it just for shock value, then my intention is wrong.
Right. That's good. That's very good. And, you know, I feel that way about, like, you know, like at this point in time, I don't think that I would do nudity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, And so it's being from the theater, it's like all there's, you know, all you try all sorts of stuff, you know what I mean? And so you're open to trying different types of things. And, you know, at this point, I don't think that I would do nudity. Also too, because it's like, will my mama be proud? You know what I mean? So I gotta think about my mama watching this stuff, you know? So sometimes that's a deciding factor too. Like, don't want to have a conversation with my mom about this. And that's okay too, you know? So I just feel like it all depends on you as a person, you as an actor, the kind of art that you're interested in, you want to craft in, and what you're passionate about and what you feel called to do. I think that's what's really important. That being said, I don't have an issue with people doing nudity. I'm saying, you know, that you have to find a way to connect to things that feel like you're called to do that, because you never know, in the future I may play a role where nudity for this role is absolutely necessary, and then I'll have to sit with that for a little bit and think about whether or not I want to do it, right? So it really all depends on you as a person, you know?
Yeah, this is ministry. I call this is what we do.
Yeah.
So I have 5 questions that I ask every guest that I have that come on. So I'm going to ask them, and you can answer them however you want to. You can take your time. You can answer them quickly. And I want to start with this one. What is it about? What do you know about the industry now, opposed to when you first got into the business?
Ooh, hold up. Let me choose my words. What I know of the industry now that I wish I knew then. Um, the industry, I learned that the industry, and granted, the industry is evolving all the time, right? So it's never, you know, I entered the industry at a time when social media and everything started to pop off. But I think I would say that just because, how do I word this? I would say we all have something to offer, right? And we know that we have something to offer, and we know that it's worthy. The industry isn't always going to be, you know, having eyes for that. And you need to know that it doesn't mean that you don't have anything to offer just because the industry can't necessarily see it. Because the industry is more than likely, this is a general blanket statement, working on formulaic things in order to make money. And you have to know that. And so if you throw yourself in the industry thinking that the way that they see you is how you really are, you'll never get to the purpose and the calling that you are called to do,
Oh,
right? And so you cannot look at yourself through the eyes of the industry. Because if you do, because if I did, I would have never tried comedy.
yeah,
I always played the girl who had ulterior motives, or, you know, I never would have thought that I could even break into TV and film in a way. You know
right.
what I mean? And so I think that the key is to know that the vision that the industry has, and what the industry is looking to do is something that's focused on something that's lucrative. And so sometimes it's going to miss what it is you have to offer and the worthiness of that. And so to not wait to see your worth through the eyes of the industry. Does that
Amen. 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 I'm trying to refrain from not having church, but that I know it's that is the truth. That is,
make
and you know what? Grace is actually very chill and laid back, and could be really. I think the last time I saw you was like in jeans and a blue t-shirt.
Oh, I'm in sweats every day.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not. So when you saw her, when you see her as Anika, it's like just played up, you know?
Well, you know
I'm
what's
trying
so
to tell
funny?
people.
What's so crazy about that is that I remember when we were doing, this is the inside story, but I remember when we were doing fittings for Anika, and one of the producers is like, I don't think you can like sell this part physically. Like they didn't think that I could, because I was coming in every day with like sweats and sneaks, and so I putting on a dress and heels for them, they were like, oh my
What?
gosh, because I was such a tomboy, you know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like, again, you know, so people have an idea of who they think you are, and then you show them, look, there's more to me than meets the eye.
Totally, totally. So what advice would you give your 19-year-old self?
I would tell her, I say this in a lot of interviews, the you are enough part. And I think that that's super huge. So I would definitely tell her you are enough, but I would also tell her that you have a voice. Don't be scared to use it, and know that when you're using it in love and, with graciousness, that you're not going to be for everybody, and everybody's not going to be for you, and that's okay. That's okay. That does not mean to not use your voice and to not use your platform and to not stand in the identity of who you are.
Absolutely. Which has inspired your book, I Am Enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which my niece Peyton has, by the way.
Oh, hey, Peyton.
Yeah, she's a smart, she's in I think second grade, no, first grade, and she's reading like on the third grade level. So
Oh, I love that. Hey.
so what would you want your legacy to be?
Oh my gosh, these questions. Oh, good. Um, I would want to leave behind a legacy that, like, I'd want people to say, you know, she loved God, she loved love, she encouraged every time she spoke and every time she showed up, she encouraged people to stand in the uniqueness of who they were. And, she purveyed joy. And I think that kind of encompasses all of it.
What brings you joy?
Oh gosh. I think different things bring me joy in different seasons. In this season, I go back to the things I used to do as a kid. And so right now, playing piano, singing brings me joy. Painting brings me joy. Playing with my dog brings me joy. Going to Universal Studios with Trey brings me joy. Um, so I'm learning to allow myself little moments of um, youthful unabandoned, so that I can stay grounded in a way. You know what I mean? Stay grounded in not in the hierarchy of things, but stay grounded in the fact that you can be really adulty a lot of times, and you're thinking about bills and you're thinking about this and schedules and all that kind of stuff, and so you kind of float up with all the responsibilities that you have and as an adult, and you forget time for play. And I think play really keeps you grounded. So in this season, it's, laughing and surrounding myself, giving myself permission to be with and around the people that I know that really love me and really support me, and being okay releasing anything or anyone that that's not their desire, you know.
Amen. Amen. What are you grateful for?
I have so much to be grateful for. I do. I'm deeply grateful for my relationship with God. Um, that also brings me joy every day. I'm grateful for our relationship. I'm grateful for the things He shows me. I'm grateful for the gifts in nature. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for second chances. I really believe in second chances, and in a way, that's another word. I think that's another like definition of grace. It's like
Mm-hmm.
chance to start again or to begin again, and um, so I'm no big fan of that. So I'm grateful for second chances.
Amen. Amen. And you know what? Let me just say this. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that, a lot of times I can say this. A lot of time God blesses us. And sometimes the blessing that he gives us can bless others.
Right.
And to see where God has taken you has really increased my faith to keep going, because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. Tomorrow doesn't always have to bring destruction and bad news, but tomorrow can literally blow your mind in a good way.
That's right. Absolutely. I
So
believe.
to that, my sister, I say thank you. It has been such a pleasure seeing you on this side of the red carpet.
Oh my God, the pleasure is all mine. And I'm so grateful for you. And I just speak life into you, into your career, to all the wonderful ways in which you're, networking and connecting people to larger messages and just all the ways in which you're encouraging people. So I just speak life over you and into you and just thank you for the opportunity to jump on here and share.
Thank you so much. Grace Byers, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, stay blessed, stay encouraged, stay in love, stay in light. God bless you, Grace. We'll talk.